we came to do. Hey, y'all, it's Reset Sunday. Let's make it work. We have things to accomplish. The focus for today is eating for your body type. So at this point, has everybody already taken their body type quiz? You know your body type. You can be an ectomorph, an endomorph, a mesomorph. You can be endomeso. You can be ectomeso, endoecto. You can be a blend of all the different body, well, a blend of the different type of body types. But do we all know what our body type is? Or if you don't know what your body type is, let me know. Okay, Tanja, see that you took the quiz. Yes, and I got your results. Taz, you don't have to retake it. I think I still have your results here. Do you want me to resend? Oh, did you ever take it? I feel like no. Yeah, I don't have it on my side. So yeah, Taz, take your quiz so you can know what your body type is, and it'll make things, it's going to make it make sense a little bit more as to when we talk about eating for your body type. Okay, Taz, and you said that you're seeing yourself differently. Is that a good thing? I hope, is that positive? You're seeing yourself in a positive light?
I'm kind of seeing myself like you were saying, you know, how you want to see yourself one way, but then it's actually another way. So that's why I said I was going to retake it. Remember, I had to email you the results, so it wasn't in the text.
Email, you right, you did. Okay, well, yeah,
Okay.
retake it. And y'all, if you ever feel like, say you probably paid attention to yourself a little bit more this week, and if you feel like you need to retake it just because you're like, I'm not really sure, go ahead and retake it. Nisi, I see where you have to take yours today. Yes, take it. Another thing I'm going to ask for are your measurements. I do not have measurements from everybody. And I need to get your measurements. I need those. We're a full week. Tomorrow will be a full week into March. So we have about 4 weeks, about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks remaining for the month. So I want us to maximize this month. Yeah, we have 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks remaining. So I want us to maximize everything this month. Being that we're focusing on our body type more this month, we should be able to say, hey, we can get down an inch here, 2 inches there, 4 inches there, 3 inches there. So I'm going to want to get those numbers. And as we're talking about it, in our problem areas is where this eating is going to encourage you to kind of make a shift. So before we get into that, y'all know I like to ask, did we accomplish a goal? It doesn't have to be all your goals, but if you set a goal last week, and I encourage that we always set a goal every single week, did you accomplish a goal this past week? Do tell. Come off mute or throw it in the chat, one or the other. But let me know if you reached a goal. And I can start.
I'll go first.
Yes, Nisi. Y'all, welcome, okay. Nisi. Welcome, Nisi. Hey, Nisi.
Yes. Well, I want to say, first of all, like, you ladies are amazing. That, like, every day, I just look into the group meet, and it has been so much encouragement for me, and I appreciate each and every last one as well. Thank you so much. But a major goal that I accomplished, and it was so hard, was getting my water in. So at first, it was like my body was rejecting so much water, and now at the end of a week, like, I'm craving water, and I keep my bottle with me. I started with a big jug, and it was very intimidating, and I moved down to a smaller bottle, and I just keep refilling it throughout the day. It's less intimidating, but now, you know, throughout the day, my body says, it's like it says, drink water, and it's no problem now. So that's been a huge goal for me.
Yes, congrats. Yes, congrats. Well, welcome, Nisi. Nisi came to the BU and got started last week. This is her first week in with us, or first couple of days in with us. So I welcome you with open arms. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad that the BU group me is working. Y'all continue to, again, dump anything into that chat, you know, about what you're doing, your workouts, because like I tell y'all individually, you're inspiring somebody. We see you too. You go ahead and dump your receipts into that chat too. I think every bit helps Every bit helps. And even whenever you're going through challenges, y'all, dump it in there. This is the community that's going to work with us. So we definitely want to rely on our community. But welcome. And folks are saying, nice job, Nisi. That's what's up. So welcome and congrats. Good job on getting that water in. Anybody else have anybody else have anything that they want to bring up that they did over the past week? What did you accomplish over this past week? What goals did you accomplish?
This is Terry. I'll say something. We had that bread challenge, Miss Reagan. Those hard carbs or whatever you call them.
Refined.
Okay, thank you. Those refined carbs. Well, I made it through the first week.
Glory.
And I called you on one day. It's like, oh, I thought I could have this as a snack, and you quickly you quickly knocked that one down. But even here in Maryland, look, we passed by the Krispy Kreme, which I love.
Yeah, I know.
I kept it moving. Passed by it twice, but I kept it moving. And even when my host was like, "Oh, well, we can get a burger," can't eat that bread. Stop, can't eat that bread. So I made it through the first week with no refined carbs like that. No candy, no cookies, no nothing.
Miss Terry, when you get back into town, I want you to send me your measurements because I know you lost something over this past week. Even with you traveling, I know you lost something. I know you did.
I don't know, Miss Reagan. On Friday or Thursday when I sent you the thing, I was down to like 163.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I kept that down to 163. I know I'm trying to get to 160, but I don't know, Miss Reagan.
No, I don't want to know your weight. I want you to take your measurements.
Okay.
Yeah. I want you to take your measurements. Your weight will probably say one thing because naturally with traveling and stuff, then that sodium, just naturally, it just kind of sits on you or whatever. But that's why I say, I want your measurements. I do want your measurements of problem areas. Send me your problem area measurements. And
okay.
Because if you've been doing everything that you're supposed to, you should be on track or you should be a little bit lower. Your weight can be up. Your weight can in fact be up, but your measurements can be down. But that's why I'm asking for measurements.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. Good job, Miss T. I'm so proud of you. Yes. Taz said continuing meal prep, 4 days of meal prep lunches, trying to work on it today. Yes. Chandra forgot to weigh in, found an app for measurements, need to play with it first before I share. Okay. And I know Shamika and Talaya, they have like a measurement app or something like that they use. And it seems like it's pretty cool. I know Shamika just sent me hers yesterday. And Talaya, I know that you've I've seen yours before and I thought it was pretty cool. So maybe these different measurement apps that these ladies have, if y'all need help with that, maybe lean on them for some advice on that. So good. Anybody else? Talaya said meal prepping today. Yes, meal prepping. Y'all, preparation is key. Anybody else before we get into the meat and potatoes for the day?
This is Tangi.
Hey, Tangi.
So I'm excited because I put in the chat that I lost a pound and I lost a pound last week. So I was in a size 14. And then today I just decided, let me try a pair of my 12 jeans on. Mm-hmm. And I have slid in my size 12 jeans. So I'm so excited.
Yes. Look, how I feel. I know it felt good.
It does. I might twist all day.
Get it, Ellis. Get it.
Dragging that wagon around. I know that's right. Yes. Congrats, Tangi. Y'all definitely show her some love. Tangi got started, what was it, last month, Tangi? And y'all, I personally, and Tangi, you can kind of give me your 2 cents, but would you say it takes you like to get into like the swing of things? How long does it take, or how long did it take you to kind of get into the swing of things?
So I started in January.
That's right. You did start in January.
And I think it does take I think it took a good month to just get acclimated to drinking the water. And I just started with the MyFitnessPal. So I kind of like added on stuff little by little so it wouldn't be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So just each week, just doing something different each week until I got to, well, being able to work all the different things in a program.
That's so good. And that's realistic. I mean, it literally, y'all, I don't want y'all to feel like you have to take on everything at one time. That is not realistic at all. If you do, I mean, it might be realistic for some people, but 9 times out of 10, you may fall off the track. And when you fall off, you're going to feel very overwhelmed and you might not get back on track. You know what I mean? You might become rebellious to it. So just take one thing at a time, which is the whole point of Reset Sunday. Something's going to stick out to somebody that may not stick out for you. Something will stick out for you that may not stick out to somebody else. So you just have to kind of lean into the things that are working for you. But at the bare minimum, bare minimum, y'all know I want you to focus on your drinking water. And we talk about that every time. I'm looking for, we do a check-in on hydration on Tuesdays. What's your water looking like? I want you to get your rest. That is very important. You have to prioritize getting enough rest at night. And your eating is going to be very important. Eating consistently and eating enough. Now, most recently, we've been talking about adding in more protein because most of us are not getting that required protein amount. Even myself, some days I'm like, dang, I didn't eat enough protein. I didn't consume enough. I thought that, eating my piece of salmon was going to be enough for the day when really I needed to have that a good 2 or 3 more times. So just make sure that we're paying attention to those power 3 things, our eating, our water, and our rest. Okay. And then continue to add on things like Tangi just said. It'll be helpful. Tracking all the time for everybody may not be their thing, but you're going to slowly add these things in, get into the habit of tracking, and then you might kind of come off of it a little bit because you gain understanding of, okay, this is what it looks like for me to eat 1,800 calories. This is what it feels like for me to consume 1,500 calories for the day. Or I now know that I'm getting way too much sugar. So the tracking is just for you. So use that to your advantage. Track, know where you are, know where you're kind of falling off a little bit on, and work on those things. And it is only going to help you. So congrats, everybody. If y'all want to add in anything else that you did accomplish over this past week, by all means do so. But in the meantime, between time, oh, hey, Andrina, I seen that you up here. Hey, honey bun. What's up? Me and Andrina, we just got off of our call. Y'all welcome Andrina to the BU. Andrina is coming on board. Whoop, whoop. What's up?
They're my cousin.
Again. Somebody always got to shout their cousin out. I love it.
Hey, Sandra.
So y'all, the BU is growing and I'm so here for that. So you guys, but more importantly, our community is growing. We are a very pleasant community. We are a graceful community. And I want y'all to continue to rely on each other because we are each other's resources at this point in time. And we have a lot of resources in our group. So I'm loving it. Let's see. So if you have not taken your body type quiz, again, go ahead and take your body type quiz. Go ahead and take it so you will know what works for you. So the very first thing that I'm going to talk about is because what I'm seeing from most of the results over the week is that we all have a little bit of mesomorph in us. All have a little bit of mesomorph in us. It might be 38%. It might be 50%. It might be 70% of who we are. But a lot of us have that mesomorph body type within us, which means that we're carrying areas or we're carrying weight in certain areas of our body. And a lot of us have that issue where we're carrying that weight in our lower half or what have you. And even down to like the endomorphs, we often feel like, where it's hard for us to lose the weight, but it's easy for us to gain muscle and whatnot. So we all have like a little bit of this within us, or I'm seeing a lot of us have it. Very few had ectomorph results. So even with the ectomorph results, you have to be just as diligent whenever it comes to your eating, the same way endo and mesomorph does. So last week, we also talked about how to train for your body type. We wanted to learn what your body type was, but we also talked about the importance of making sure that you understand we got to pick up the weights. Like we just absolutely have to pick up the weights. That's on period. Okay. We got to pick up the weights. The cardio is good. It is not the basis of our entire workout. So everybody should definitely be doing cardio, but you want to make sure that you have a good balance and blend of weight training in it as well. And if there's anybody that's unclear about the reasoning as to why, definitely let me know. So if you are a mesomorph, if you are a meso slash endomorph, you can put in the chat. You can go ahead and put in the chat to me. You can put it into me personally, or you can just kind of put it in for everybody. Put me. If you are a meso endomorph, put ME, put me in the group. If you are a ecto meso, put EM into the group chat, into the chat, EM. So if you're a meso endo, I want you to put ME. If you're an ecto meso, put EM. If you are just one of each of these, just put I'm an ecto, I'm an endo, or I'm a meso, but put what you are into the group chat so I can speak to what we are. And again, if you have not taken the body type quiz, let me know. I'm getting some of the messages privately. So perfect, that's fine. But y'all can drop it in publicly or privately. It doesn't matter to me. But yes, so while you're doing that, let's talk about some of the different traits. I'm gonna start with ectomorph as you guys, because I know some of y'all said that you're gonna retake the quiz. So definitely go ahead and retake it right now. So what I'm looking at now, I'm going to use myself as an example. I am a true ectomorph. Here are some traits about me. I have a small frame. It's very hard for me to gain. It is very, very, very hard for me to gain. I'm flat chested. I ain't got nothing up here. I'm very flat. Okay. Very flat. Even though I have broad shoulders, they are relatively small. I am on the thinner or the more thin side. I have leaner muscle mass. I find it very hard to gain weight, and my metabolism is through the roof. So those are some very key things about me that I have to be mindful of. And it's very hard for me to move out of the state of hypertrophy. I normalize workouts very, very quickly, extremely quickly. So, ectomorphs, they tend to be on that athletic side, the lean athletic side, but that goes more into those mesomorphs who are that true athletic. So going back to the ectomorphs, whenever it comes to eating for me, and I'm just using myself as an example, I have to be on point with my macronutrients, okay? If you're not sure what your macronutrients are, that's your carbs, your fats, your protein. So I have my macronutrients set, and we'll talk about this too in your nutrition check-ins, but I have my macronutrients set at making sure that I get enough carbohydrates because my metabolism is so high. I do have to lean into more carbohydrates. I also have to make sure that I'm hitting that protein because remember, it's hard for me to gain. It's hard for me to keep my muscle. So I need to hit that protein. I absolutely do. Or else I'm just going to be this little string bean looking self. And I'm going to be like, why in the world am I lifting all these weights and I'm not keeping it? That doesn't make sense. So those are some of the things that I have to be mindful of, getting sufficient amount of protein and getting a sufficient amount of carbohydrates. Okay. Now let's go into mesomorphs. I'm jumping back into the chat here. I got some Emmys, some mesos, dominant meso. Okay. EM, ectomesos. First result was just straight meso. Okay. EM and meso. So ectomeso. Okay, cool. So ectomeso and meso. So let's talk about the mesomorph traits. Let's talk about mesomorph traits. And if you're still taking your quiz, of course, it's no rush. Take your quiz, do what you need to do. So with the mesomorph traits, athletic build, generally a harder body. So you guys pack on that muscle. You have muscle. The muscle is there and it's defined. You have well-defined muscles. Most of the time, you're a little bit more of a rectangle shape, strong. You gain muscle very easily, gains fat more easily than an ectomorph would. So even though you gain that muscle easy, you also gain that fat pretty easy. And if that sounds about right, you can just kind of nod your head or you can say, yup, I agree, do. And if that that is the case, you have to be very mindful, extremely mindful of what it is that you're putting into your body. If you gain fat very easily, you have to look at your fat intake and you have to make sure that you're getting the right types of fats in. Look at what you're cooking with. Are you cooking with olive oils? Are you using vegetable oil? Are you cooking with a lot of butter? Whether it's the plant-based butter or not, are you cooking with a lot of butter? What is your fat intake looking like at the end of the day? What is it looking like? It is important, but you have to have the right types of fats. And then carbohydrates, you got to watch out for those refined carbohydrates. Those things are like magnets to you and they will stick on you. So then it does create more of that bulky look. If you're like, well, Reagan, I'm scared, I know we should be lifting weights. I get it, but you can't be lifting weights and then having these refined carbohydrates. You will be bulky, okay? You will look bulky. So you have to really watch out for those refined carbohydrates. Now, if you are a mesomorph or you have those mesomorph traits and you're avoiding those refined carbohydrates as much as possible, at least removing them from the 75%, or they're only about 20 to 25% of your diet, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. You'll be more than fine. But if you're realizing that you're getting refined carbohydrates, again, refined carbs are like your jellies, your condiments, like your ketchups, all of that kind of stuff, barbecue sauces, salad dressings, potato chips, cookies, pastas, all of that kind of stuff, breads. Those are the things that will compile within your body. They'll stick to your body. And then you try to add in that weight training with it. It will create more of a bulkier look because you're not going to be burning the body fat that you're looking to burn. So it's very critical to really avoid those types of foods. And I'm going to make sure that I provide you guys a list of foods to avoid if you are on that mesomorph side or you have those mesomorph traits. Now, going more into endomorphs, you have that softer, round body. You gain muscle and fat very easily. So you're putting on everything super easy, even easier than it is for a mesomorph. Endomorphs put it on even quicker. You're generally shorter in height. You have a stockier build. Your physique is a little bit more round. You find it hard to lose fat. You find it extremely hard to lose fat because your metabolism is very slow. So it's not as fast as that ectomorph. So it's a very slow metabolism. So, it's like the weight just kind of trickles. Just think about a running faucet and it just drip, it just trickles. That's what that fat is like for you to burn it off. And then muscles, not so well defined. So where a mesomorph has more defined muscles, yours are not so defined. And if that is the case, your eating has to be on point. Now, I didn't say you have to be strict, but I did say you got to be on point. And when I say on point, what I'm saying is this. You may not be able to get by, and just honestly speaking, so you guys will know, I don't ever want to sugarcoat anything. I want you to be very informed, very informed with what it is that you're doing. But if you are on that endomorph side, when you're eating, when I say you got to be on point, where endos have about the 20 to 25% grace in their diet, you got a good 10% grace. So that means 10% of the month, and you can do the calculations, you can do the math yourself, but about 10% of the time, that is the only wiggle room that you have. And that's being very gracious. So you can't afford to say, you know what? I've been doing good for the past 3 days. Let me just have this little ice cream cookie. Oh, okay. And then you get back on for 3 days and then you get off. And then you get on for another 3 days and you don't have that type of wiggle room at all. Okay. You have a good about 3 days. If we're talking about over a 30-day period, you got about 3 days of wiggle room. And that's being real cute. And it doesn't mean that you get stressed out about it, but those refined carbs, again, like I was talking about with the endomorphs, are not your friend. They're not your friend. So let me go ahead and go into refined carbs, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this list in our chat. And I want everybody to open up the refined the refined carbs list. But before I do that, have we all seen or do we all know what refined carbs are? Because I talk about them every week, but I kind of just grace over them. So do we know what refined carbs are? You can say, yes, I'm informed, or no, I really don't know what it is. Y'all can be honest. You can come off mute if you want to. It's totally fine. It's up to you. But do you know what refined carbs are? Dropping in the chat right now. Okay. Do we know? We don't know. It's okay if we don't. Boom. Went successfully. Y'all go ahead and open that up. Open that list up. Open that list up. Open that list up. And while I am, what is it called? And while I'm going back through, yeah, we have endos and mesos, endos, mesos, endos, mesos. So a lot of us are between endo and mesomorphs, or we're both. So that means we need to really take this refined carbs list and we need to print it out, screenshot it, make it your, I don't know, do what you got to do, but make it your go-to. Now, do you see that list of refined carbs? You see that? And it's not just limited to these things. It's not just limited to these things, but I want you to take this list and I really want you to kind of take a photographic screenshot of it, photographic memory screenshot of it, and just kind of think about all of the things that you eat within a month's time period. If you're seeing a lot of these things on your list and you like, okay, I know I'm eating a lot of wheat because I'm eating wheat bread every day. I'm eating a lot of wheat. If you know that you're having a lot of stuff with corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup, a lot of brown sugar. I'm not saying you can't have any brown sugar, but you know that you're doing a lot of brown sugar, rolls, muffins, lots of molasses or maple syrup, fruit juices, fruit juices, anything that has any type of batter, fried foods, so on and so forth. You got some work to do. You have some work to do because all you're doing at this point in time is just cycling things into your body that's going to make it hard for you to cycle out. So that is one of the first things that I want you all to pay attention to. People said they don't see a list. 1 second.
It opened for me.
It did open for you? I'm going to try to put it in one more time, y'all. It literally says carbohydrates.pdf. It's a PDF file. If y'all are on your phone, I don't know what that's going to look like on your phone, but give me 1 second. And matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll drop it in the BU group me, okay? And everybody who said y'all don't see it, are you on your phone? Let's see. Because if you're on your phone, then okay. If you're on your phone, then yeah, you might not see it. Now, I don't know what that looks like. I'm not sure what it'll look like on your side, so forgive me on that. But I'll make sure I put it in the group me chat. Or Chandra, if you don't mind, do you mind dropping that into the group me chat?
Okay.
Okay, Chandra's going to drop that into the group me chat, you guys, so y'all can see it. But I want you to take that list and I want you to print it out, or I want you to take a screenshot of it. And I really want you to really become familiar with those things. Now, for every time we think about, oh, darn, I can't have this, I want you to think about how do you replace these things into your diet? If I'm saying not Reagan, but if I'm saying to you all, hey, burn unit, don't eat these things. These things are not for you. They are of the devil, whatever I'm saying, whatever. I want you to also be very cognizant of how to replace them into your diet. So I want you to look and scroll down if you have the list open. And for those of you waiting, I know Chandra is going to put them in there. But when you scroll down, you'll see a complex carbohydrate list. So you have refined and you have complex. Refined are not good. Complex are your good vegetables, fruits that are all also complex carbohydrates. And also it gives you an example of how to identify these complex carbs. So look at them. It's mainly your fruits, it's mainly vegetables, but I want you to know that it's not just limited to these items. Saying all this to say, Ladies, you absolutely have to take your vegetable intake up. If you are an endomorph or you are a mesomorph, you have to take your vegetable intake up, preferably your leafy greens, but you have to start filtering out some of those things that you see on that refined carbs list and replace it with some of the things that you see on this complex carbohydrate list, period. Okay. You have to absolutely watch out for your fructose, sucrose, anything ending with OSE. If you see it on a label and it ends with OSE, 9 times out of 10, your body type is a magnet to those type of refined carbohydrates. So you absolutely must watch out for the consistency that they are in your diet. Going back into complex carbs, they can lose their nutritional value through cooking methods, such as like deep frying. So while you're cooking your vegetables, if you notice that the greens are getting super green to the point where they almost look black, you cooked your nutrients out. Same thing when you got your carrots. If that, orange texture or that orange look is not there and it goes into that deep orange, 9 times out of 10, you're really cooking those nutrients out. So even watch how you cook your foods, because you don't want to be eating it and then you're cooking the nutritional value out. And then now you just got what? Just food in your system doing what? So I'm going to open up the floor for some questions. Oh, Miss Terry, I got your private message, but I ain't going to say this out loud. We just going to talk offline. We going to talk offline, Miss Terry. I just got your message. Anybody have any questions about complex carbs versus refined carbs before we go into the next piece of information about your dieting and what you're eating? Do tell, do ask. I want you to ask all the questions that you have.
Okay, so I do my oatmeal every morning with my pecans and my cranberries, right?
Right.
So I had probably last year stopped using the white sugar because I would put like a little bit of white sugar in there just to give it a little sweetness. Then I changed it to brown sugar. And so I was still doing like a little bit of brown sugar, but I had, it took me a minute to get used to the cranberries because they were a little tart for me, but now it's like, I love them. Last week I bought some light agave. I think it was light agave, sweetener or whatever it's called. And, so now I put that in there. So I've been using that, and it's not as sweet as the brown sugar, but it gives me that little bit of sweetness I need in my oatmeal and so that it's not bland. So I've been using that all week.
Okay.
So
How is
I
that
bought
going?
I didn't get the regular agave because everybody I talked to that uses it tells me that it's really sweet. So that's why I got the light one.
Agave is really sweet. It's really sweet. Like sweet. But how is it going for you with you switching over to the light?
I like it. I mean, I had to get used to it at first because it's not as sweet as the brown sugar. But it's not bad.
Okay.
So I'm trying to switch to some more like organic stuff. But as far as sweeteners, that's the first time I've ever switched to something totally different. So I like it. It seems like it's gonna be all right. It just gives me that little bit so that my oatmeal doesn't just taste bland. But I don't use a lot at all.
Yeah, and you don't want to. I think as you continue to play around with it, the more you can decrease the amount of additives that you put into that oatmeal. Because like you said, you have to wean yourself off of it, y'all. Whenever you're transitioning your eating, you don't just go from one extreme to the next in like the matter of seconds. It's literally a process. Like Chandra is saying, she went from putting the white sugar in, then transitioned to brown sugar, and then now removing that and doing more of the dried fruits as that sugar. She started out with the cranberries, the dried cranberries being very tart. But now, her taste buds have said, oh, okay, this is not bad. So it's the same thing with like exercise. Your eating is the exact same way. You literally have to transition yourself find the replacements. But as you begin to find those replacements, look at the amount of sugar that you have in that oatmeal. Chandra, I'm gonna use the sugar as an example for your oatmeal. If you have your cranberries and you have your brown sugar, and I'm just throwing this out here, you got cranberries, brown sugar, and the white sugar, right? Or in the agave syrup, right? Those are 3 sweeteners that you already have into your diet. 3 sweeteners. So for this one meal.
Wait a minute, say it again.
I'm
You
just
said,
I'm using this as an example, just using oatmeal as an example.
oh, okay.
Say Chandra was she had her oatmeal, and say she was like, I just want to keep that sweet taste, but I'm gonna put a little bit of brown sugar, I'll put a little bit of the dried cranberries, and I'll put a little bit of the agave, right? Say if that was the case. She wouldn't be able to do all of that at one point in time, because on average, I'm suggesting for you guys to not go over 8 grams of sugar per meal. Again, I'm encouraging for you not to go over 8 grams of sugar per meal. So say she's like, okay, I'm going to remove the brown sugar, and now all I have is the agave and I have the dried cranberries. Those are the 2 things I have. Now, what I would encourage for her to do is look at her MyFitnessPal, or go just log what it is. If this is something that you normally eat, but you're starting to change in some things and change out some things, say she even wanted to add in some peanut butter, whatever, I would log it if I were her. And then I would say, okay, where am I going over in? Or am I going over? Because she might be using a half of a teaspoon for that agave and only putting 4 dried cranberries in it. She might be just fine. Or those 4 dried cranberries might be too much. It might be sending her over. So maybe she's like, well, I really enjoy the dried cranberries. Let me just forego the agave and let me just, now I have some wiggle room with my dried cranberries. I can actually do 8 instead of 4. Okay, and still hit my macronutrients. So it's all about just kind of playing around with it, but also paying attention to how your body feels. If you're getting through the day and you're like, dang, I'm a little bit more bloated than normal. Normally, I'm not this bloated after I eat my oatmeal. Chances are you have something that is too high in that food or in that meal that's now making you bloat. So as long as you're hitting your numbers, taking it to your real life example, Chandra, as long as your numbers are making sense, this is the time where you would say, let me just track this real quick. Just this one meal. Let me track it. Let me see where I'm at. Okay, I'm kind of going over a little bit, or I'm good. Cool beans, that's a good one for you. And then also pay attention to how you feel. If you're bloated, then I would say, let's work out some stuff. If you're not bloated and you feel energized, you feel good, then keep it up. How's it making you feel now that you've switched?
I guess about the same. I mean, that's my breakfast in the morning. So that's what I eat every morning. And then I do a protein shake. And it was just really, the brown sugar was just for really taste, because I use the oatmeal. I don't use the oatmeal in the packs. I do the oatmeal that's in the container. I don't know, I can't think of what it's called, the old-fashioned oatmeal. And so I make that, and I add the cranberries and the pecans as a topping. And then I was putting the brown sugar a little bit. I wasn't even doing a full teaspoon of brown sugar. I was just putting enough in there just to give it a little bit of sweetness to it. But I mean, it's pretty much been the same, because I guess because I eat it so much, I really can't tell the difference.
Okay. Well, good. Again, go off of your measurements. When you get to, have you sent me your measurements lately?
No, I gotta do them.
All right, now, Chandra, I need those measurements, Miss Ma'am.
I gotta do them.
Give me those measurements. Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
So you don't recommend Splenda, do you?
I've never been one to gravitate towards it. I've had folks in the past that have used it. I would say anything, again, is one of those additive. And if you fall underneath like a certain, or if you realize that you've been consuming it for a certain period of time and you're not seeing the shift in either your clothing, your measurements, or the way that you would like to, I would recommend starting to find a replacement. There might be something that you're going over in, or it might even be the Splenda. It might just be really getting on track. And I know, Andrina, we're just getting started too. So I'll work on some things with you. But yeah, if it's like one of those things that you're married to, I would say we probably need to focus on other areas in your diet. If you're like, I've tried everything and you've exhausted literally everything, and it's kind of like something that was like a light bulb off, like, is my Splenda causing me a problem? And that might be an area of opportunity.
Okay. Thank you.
No, you're fine. Question. Anybody got anything else? Anybody got anything else before we get into this next piece? Any questions?
So this is Shamika.
Actually,
So I was gonna say, hey, yeah, I didn't realize we started at 12:30 today, so I'm just sitting around.
Sorry. I was last minute sending out the message. That's on me, y'all. I'm sorry. It's one of those weeks for me, but I promise I'm gonna be on.
It's okay. It's okay. That was my fault because I could have looked at the text message earlier, but I'm like, I'll look and see what they talk about later. But so I realized when you asked me last night, like, what did I do anything different, or did I have carbs last week? Because I did lose the weight. But I did think about it because I was thinking about I think it was Miss Terry's no carb kind of week that we were supposed to do. And so I didn't have my overnight oats this week, which I only usually have them about maybe twice, maybe 3 times a week. But I didn't have that this week. Instead, I found the Premier protein shakes, and I like those. So what I've been doing, it has 30 grams of protein, which is in my mind way too much. So I don't drink the whole thing. I like break it up into 3 parts. So I'll use like a third of it in my coffee, actually. So I'll drink, not coffee, well, coffee if we have it, or espresso, we have an espresso machine. So I don't use any other sweeteners, any other creamers or anything. I'll just do black coffee or straight espresso and add the third of the protein shake in there just to give me a boost of protein. And if I have something, this week it was egg whites scrambled with some vegetables and I think like turkey sausage or something like that. And so I have a small portion of that. So that's what I pretty much ate this week, and I saw the results. I don't know if it's because I increased my protein, because I've been trying to do better now that I have those liquid shakes already made, and I can just take, drink half of it if I'm in a rush and know that I'm getting some protein in. So I did those this week, and those have helped out. So every morning I know I'm going to get some protein because I'm going to add it to my black coffee. And then I'm going to get my little boost of caffeine or whatever I need to get my day going at work and help me focus. So I've been doing that, and egg whites was last week. So that kind of worked for me.
Let me ask you this. Why did you feel that the 30 grams was too much for the protein for you?
I don't know. And I did do a lot of extra workouts this week, but I guess that's something like I got to have a chat with you about, because it just seemed like a lot of protein for one. Well, for me, if it was something that I'm going to have like a small meal with, then I definitely didn't feel like I needed a whole 30 grams of protein if I'm eating eggs, which are also high in protein.
Right. Okay.
So I was kind of balancing it.
Okay. And yeah, and I wanted to make sure I asked that because sometimes we have our own facts in our mind. Like, we all do. You're not alone, Shamika. We like, that's a whole lot. But we don't also think about those things on the carbohydrate side that are very high, when it's like, oh, okay, that's 40 grams of carbs. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. You know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, we might be getting 40 grams of carbohydrates in a meal, but only getting about 12 grams of protein in a meal. And it's like, whoa, but our body's requiring more protein of us, especially when we're bringing up our activity level. I believe you brought that up. So yeah, don't be afraid. But I think you did make a really good call with making sure that you were like, let me just do about half of this protein shake because I already know that I'm getting the eggs, so I don't need both. That was good. And you could have had the other half of that protein shake for a snack, or like, as you're training into something. So that's
good. What I've been doing. So I'll drink like the other half later as a snack. So I feel like those little protein shakes are probably going to be a good win for me, because I'm always on the go. I'm busy, but if I can just grab like, okay, I had half of it for breakfast, and like I'll use it before we do a workout.
Like y'all was saying, grab your protein shakes. Mama ain't got time to make no protein shake that early in the morning, but I can open this cap and take a swig.
There you go. There you go. And make it make sense for your lifestyle. Like,
Yeah.
make it make sense, even though how you know that you are the chef. If y'all don't know, Shamika is like the BU chef. That's the way I like to think about her. I love it because you always have really good ideas. The same way that you did your overnight oats, everybody, you can pre-prep your smoothies as well. So all you have to do is just either pour your liquid of choice, whether it's like water or almond milk or whatever, and blend it up. Or you can just say, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just mix mine up and I'm gonna just shake it in the morning, grab it out the refrigerator, shake it, and I'm on my way. So also think about those things that make sense for you, or grabbing the protein like you already have and getting your swig of that and moving on with your life. If that works, lean into it. And if you find that it's creating more problems or you're at a standstill, then we know that those are areas of opportunity. And that's what I want. She said something very key, ladies. Shamika said, you know what? I kind of did the little thing. I gave up my overnight oats this week. I joined in on Miss Terry. See, Miss Terry, you helping the ladies out. She joined in on the challenge with you. You joined in on the challenge with Miss Terry. You reconfigured, your morning breakfast, and then boom, look. Results. It results. And a lot of the times it's not that we have to go super, super crazy in what we're actively doing, but sometimes we just kind of have to release some of those old things that we've continuously cycled in. Now, this doesn't mean Shamika can never have overnight oats again. Right. She just now knows that it might have been too much in her diet for where her body currently is now. Now that might mean if she was having it, how often were you having it, Shamika, the overnight oats?
Like maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times at max, but maybe I'll just do it like once a week or something.
Yeah. And that's not a lot. Like anybody could look at that and say, well, that's really not a lot. She's only doing it 2 to 3 times a week, but then you multiply that by 4.
Right.
You do that 2 times a week times 4 weeks in a month. That's 8 days that her body is taking this on and having to, either work with it, try to dispel it, or do something. And, the moment that she removed the consistency out of her diet, the results came. Now, she did other things as well, but that's something to be mindful of what you're putting into your body, because it doesn't mean a hot darn about the other stuff that you did if everything that you're putting into your body is continuously suppressing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's good. I love it. And that is something that you changed. Now, are you going to continue to do that next week? Do you think that you're going to add it maybe back in maybe once per week? Or how do you think you're going to go about the overnight oats? Are you just going to say the heck with it for March? I'm going to get back around come April.
Well, I don't know. I might do it once, but maybe I'll cut the portion size of it down. Like I have it logged in my Fitness Pal. And it's kind of like Chandra, like it was a good go-to for me, especially with them being overnight oats. Now I cut out, I think for me, I wasn't using sugar. I was using like maybe a teaspoon or so or of raw honey. But then I did do it like the last couple of times. I said, okay, I'm taking the honey out because I have bananas to sweeten it up. So with the overnight oats, your oats get a chance to absorb the sweetness of the bananas and the peanut butter or whatever you're using. So you don't really need the extra sweetener because it's not having to cook in there. It's sitting overnight. So for me, taking the honey out was fine. It still was sweet enough. You still got everything you needed. So I could probably do that and just cut back on the amount of peanut butter I'm putting in there as well. And cut back on the number of banana slices that I'm putting in and just see how that calculates out as well. Now that I have the protein shake.
Try that out. Send me a screenshot of what it looks like too, whenever you finish it up, because I'm interested to know. I definitely want to know. So
I'll send you the before and the after recipe breakout.
I love it. Oh yes, y'all so successful. I love it. Okay, so I'm looking into the chat. And thank you for sharing that, Shamika. Truly do appreciate it. Let me see, Chandra. Okay, so you just logged the agave in, and it's worse than the brown sugar. That agave is sweet. It is very sweet. That's why you don't ever hear nobody talking about having something like, some of those like mango-y like fruits and stuff for weight loss or anything like that, because generally they're so high in sugar. Like they're very high in sugar. It's like dessert. the way I like to think about it. But I'm glad you logged it. Now you know how to use it. Those of you who mentioned using it in your smoothies and or your teas, just be mindful of how much you're putting into it, and go ahead and log your and Dreen, I know that you're fairly new with MyFitnessPal. I know that you've had it before, you downloaded it again. But what I would say, we're just talking about utilizing our MyFitnessPal to kind of become a little bit more aware of the calories that we're putting into our body and what we're getting enough of or what we need to get more of. So just kind of use that to your advantage. Just start tracking some of the foods, and we can talk about that offline. But I'm looking, just watch it, watch it, y'all. Just be mindful of it. So boom, 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 boom. Taz, you're using the Premier Protein drink on the days that we need them for workouts. Y'all, I have a question about your Premier Protein. What is that sugar intake for, or the sugar count on your Premier Protein? Because I know quite a few of y'all have it. So what is your sugar?
I think it's like 4. Let me see if I look at it. It's
Yeah,
the one I
about
have is really low.
Okay. 4 is
That's
good.
because it's super low.
Okay, good, 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 good.
Okay, I have the peach one,
Mhm.
and it's 3 grams of fat, it's 160 calories, it's 3 grams of carbs, 30 grams of protein.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I
Yep.
love
Let me
Yeah,
let me
it's
see
good.
a picture of it. Let me see a picture.
let me just turn the camera around.
Yeah, you can just turn the camera around. I'm talking about a picture.
Yep. Except I get vanilla.
I got the vanilla one too.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
I've tried strawberry, but I haven't seen the peach one
I
yet.
went the strawberry, the peach, the vanilla. I like them all.
Yes, turn around now. Now turn it around. Yeah, hold it right there. Ladies, everybody zoom in, zoom in. So we talked about and matter of fact, hold it just right there. I'm gonna pin yours to the top. So, oh, you're already pinned. Okay, great. So this is a couple of things I want y'all to pay attention to whenever you're doing your protein shakes, when you're doing food in general, just food. So this has 160 calories, 3 grams of fat. That's not bad. Saturated, only 0.5 grams. We can get with that. Cholesterol, 20 milligrams. Sodium, 230 milligrams. Even though that is a little bit more on the higher side, I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but we can get with that. We can get with a 230. And then total carbohydrates, 3 grams, dietary fiber, 1, total sugars, 1 gram. So it doesn't have a lot of added sugars. And then protein was 30 grams. This is a really good protein shake. I want you to go to the ingredients for me, if you don't mind.
Because I got some vitamins and stuff in it too.
Yep, all of your micronutrients, which is good. That's good. Where the yeah, go to the side, turn it to the side.
I'm trying to find. Okay, trying to find.
Okay.
It's kind of small though, so
Yeah, turn it back like how you had it, because that was perfectly fine. Yep, that was good. Yep. So I know that it has like dairy in it. Y'all just be mindful of some of the things. You see how it has OSC, sucralose. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's one of those added what is it called? Refined carbs. So with this shake, it is a good alternative. I would not just randomly snack on this. I would keep this very concentrated. This is a concentrated type of a protein shake. Thank you so much, Talaya. That's a concentrated protein shake, meaning you want to keep that around. You only want to keep that around like a workout, a serious workout days. Keep it around your workout so that your body can take it, it can use it, and then remove it. You know what I mean? Versus just randomly on a day where you chilling on the couch and then you sipping on that protein shake. That ain't gonna work in your favor, okay? But I think it's a good one, personally.
right now I have a question about the like mangoes, because that's usually what I'll put in a smoothie in the morning. I have like spinach, and I'll cut up like a fresh mango, or like spinach and whatever fresh fruit, strawberries, peaches. So you telling me I shouldn't use my mangoes?
Yeah, I'm telling you that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm telling you that. Treat it like, yeah, okay, well. Well, I mean, but realistically speaking, have you logged it into your MyFitnessPal? Let's start there. Have you logged it?
Not recently. I have in the past. I just don't remember what it is.
So log it again, log your shake, because you might be able to get around it. Not saying that you can never have mango again, but we might just need to change up how you're having it. Because you said you would do spinach, mango, and what else in your smoothies?
Usually that spinach, mango, water, and the that protein powder from Herbalife.
Protein powder for Herbalife. Okay. So you might want to log your shake. Start there. If that's the time that you're eating it. If you're seeing that your sugar intake is extremely high, then I would say you need to either back off how much you're putting into that smoothie, or maybe you just need to have it by itself as a morning snack. So I'm not saying you have to cut it out completely, but you may want to watch how you're eating it and when you're eating it. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, usually it's only in the morning if if it's in that shake, if it's a breakfast shake. So it's that first thing in the morning type deal. It's not I'm coming home at night and having mangoes before bed.
Yes, mangoes before bed. Okay, well, good. So just log that, send me the receipt, send me the screenshot so I can kind of say, okay, yeah, let's go with it this way, or let's not go with it that way. And then we can go from there. But you might not need to cut it all the way out, but that's just one of those fruits that they're higher in sugar, and you don't really pull the fibers from it the way that you would with those that have, like, an apple or something like that has that skin on it, and they're not as sweet. So yeah, just send that over to me and let me know what it says.
I have apples as snacks throughout the day or with like lunch or something, but I don't know what else to put in smoothies other than mangoes, berries, peaches, I have strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. I don't know what else to put in smoothie. I'm not a big banana person, but I mean, I do use a little bit here and there. When I say a little bit, like a whole banana might last a week for me. I'm not a big banana person.
Have you tried other smoothie recipes as well? Use one of the links for smoothie recipes. I don't think I have any up there for this month, but I think last month I have some smoothie recipes. It's a link to the smoothie recipes. Have you cracked open those links yet?
I don't think I have. I'll take a look at them.
Yeah, take a look at them.
Like I like pineapple, but I'm allergic to it. So I try not to use something like a pineapple or those citrus things in a smoothie because they make my mouth itch.
Well, yeah, we don't want you out here having allergic reactions. That's not fun. Okay. We don't want that. That's not fun. So let's go with just click on one of those links, or if you're having an issue finding something that'll be something that you will enjoy, then we can even change up the type of water that you use. You can start using coconut water into it, just to kind of switch it up a little bit and kind of diversify the type of smoothies that you have. So we can look into that. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Yes, Premier Protein. That's what's up. Peanut butter is a go-to for me. This is Taz. I have the small ones that have dipped apples in it and pretzels. That's a good snack. That's my kind of snack right there. That must be the ectomorph in you, Taz.
I sent you the snapshot of what it looks like when you log it into MyFitnessPal. So I just texted to you.
All right, 250 calories. So this is one of the, okay, so you get the little pack sizes, the little packs?
Yeah, it's a little small one.
Gotcha. Okay, one pack. Do you usually eat the whole thing? The whole pack?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that one little thing, but I mean, I might do that like once a day at school.
Okay. 8 grams of protein, 16 grams of fat, 21 grams of carb, a little high on the fat side. And this is actually going to take me into this next piece. So it's a little high on the fat side, in my personal opinion. We do need the fat. We absolutely do need the fat. But I believe that you're ecto-meso. What were your results? Are you ecto-meso or ecto-endo?
So when you looked at me last week, you gave your idea what it is, but me with my eyes said something else. So I didn't retake it yet because I've been folding clothes while we've been talking.
Okay. Yeah, I'm giving that because you have that ecto meso vibe. I feel like you're EM personally. I
Okay.
think so. Because I see like your stature, I see your body type. I'm looking like whenever I look at your body, I'm like, oh, okay, but I also see the areas where you're like, okay, dang, I need to work on this, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would put you on the ecto meso side. Saying I
Okay.
have to say, just watching that fat intake. So where if you had more of the ectomorph side of you that was more dominant, then I would say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, yeah, that's totally fine. Or a way that you could look at this is keep these snacks like this. If you're going to use this one pack, I would say you might want to break it up so that you're not getting that 8 gram or that 16 grams of fat in one setting. And you'll
Okay.
even see that 55% is alerting you saying, hey, that's pretty high. That's a little high because your goals for the day, I have you at 40, 30, 30. I've zoned you out. 40% of carbohydrates, 30% protein, 30% fat. In this case, you got the 30% of carbs, you have the 55% of the fat, and then you have the 13% of the protein. So it's going to be a little bit off. So if I were you, keep the snacks just half the size, half the amount of peanut butter that you're eating. And that's
Okay.
quick, problem solved. You'll be good to go.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So here we go. So now this is what I want y'all to look. This is what I've been trying to get into right here. For meso, because we have a lot of mesos and endos, I'm just going to skip ecto altogether. And I'm gonna go directly to the mesomorph. Whenever you do your breakfast, you need to have a high protein type of breakfast. So this definitely take notes on this part, y'all, because I want you to be confident in what it is that you're eating and knowing when to kind of capitalize on these certain types of food to eat. And I'm going to say it a couple different times in a couple different ways. So in the mornings, you want to mesomorph. I'm speaking to my mesomorph type of people. Examples of what you want to have for your breakfast. You want to have something very high in protein, very high in protein. So you got your eggs, you got your breakfast meat of choice or your breakfast protein of choice. You got a little bit of vegetable intake in there, very, very minimal on the complex carb. That is what your breakfast needs to look like. So lots and lots of protein for your breakfast. Then you get into a snack. You can keep it moderate with fat, kind of like I'm going to use Taz's example of how she used the apples in the peanut butter, or if she was doing nuts and apples or something like that. So she's getting that fiber. You would want to get that fiber intake in there, and you want to get a decent amount of fat and very moderate on the protein. Then when you get into lunch, you have a heavy presence of protein, fat, and those vegetables as well. So it's kind of like it's super balanced. It's good. You have that protein, you have that heavy presence of vegetables in there, and you have that presence of fat in there. You want to be very balanced on your lunch or for your lunch. And then when you get to dinner, you don't want to have any carbohydrates for your dinner. Again, mesomorphs, no carbs for your dinner. So if you're a rice person, no ma'am. If you are I do a little sweet potato every now and then, you might want to put that at lunch. But for your dinner, it's a no. You got your protein and you have your vegetables. That's it for mesomorphs. And I'll make sure I reiterate these things again so you can kind of hear it a different way. Now for endomorphs, if you have a higher presence of endomorph traits in your body, then this is how you want to eat. For your breakfast, high protein, high in vegetables, very minimal in fat, okay? High protein, high in vegetables, very minimal in fat. So how you're cooking your food, for all my cheese people out there, y'all know how I feel about cheese, but I ain't gonna go there. Y'all know how I feel. But if you are a cheese person, you really need to watch it. You're going to have to really watch it. But you want to have a higher presence of protein and vegetables in your diet. So the way that the mesomorph dinner looks, that's what your breakfast needs to look like. high in protein, and high in vegetables. Your snack, berries, you want to keep a fruit, you want to keep your fruits with the least amount of sugar as possible. So those berries, they're very high in antioxidants. They fight with you and for you. So you want to have berries in your diet quite consistently. And you want to kind of be a little bit moderate on the nuts, or if you're a nuts person, cool beans. If you're more of a vegetable snacky type of person, that's fine too. But you do want to have that presence of those fruits and those berries into your diet. You definitely want to lean into berries. Endomorphs, berries are going to be your friend. Again, berries are going to be your friend, especially for like snack options, those transitional meals, those in between meals. Lean into the berries. Then you get into lunch. Now, you need to have a good amount of fat intake for your lunch. That doesn't mean that you're going, you're getting deep fried pickles and whatever, but it just means, all right, I'm going to use that peanut butter cup that Taz was talking about. That is whenever, if she was on the endomorph side and she wanted to have apples and peanut butter with, a nice salad with a boiled egg on it or something like that, and some tea with it, then that would be totally fine. Just because of the way that the body type will receive this type of food at this time of day, that's going to work with you. So again, even if you want to add in like some avocado for your fat intake. And we can talk about different fats as well to start maneuvering through your diet, because fats are important in your diet. Fats are very important in your diet, especially when you're talking about body types. Okay. So fats do work for you. Fats really will. So that's kind of what your lunch looks like. You have that heavy presence of vegetables. You have a decent amount of the proteins into your lunch. And then that fat intake is very intentional. So lunch, that's what that needs to look like for those who are more of a pear shape or more of, or on that endomorph side of their body types. And then for dinner, your dinner can be very, very moderate whenever it comes to carbohydrates. So if you're somebody who likes rice or they like a little sweet potato, I'm gonna use sweet potato. If you're doing a sweet potato, you normally do half, then you might want to break it down to a fourth at dinner. But because you cut some of that out, now you need to go and amplify those vegetables. Have a super heavy plate of vegetables, and then you have a decent amount of protein, even a good amount of protein too. So again, let me say that if you're looking at a plate and you are an endomorph and it's your dinner time, you got your greens, your broccoli, I don't know, and asparagus. You got 3 different vegetables. And then on top of that, you have your 4-ounce piece of chicken, your 4-ounce piece of salmon, or you got your shrimp or what have you, or your vegetable-based protein. Boom, you have that as well. And then you might do a fourth of a sweet potato. That's what your dinner needs to look like if you are an endomorph. Okay. So you see how like all of those sound completely different based off what your body types are. And it's important to be mindful of that. You want to keep these things into your mind as you're eating, and even how to prepare your food. Let me even break it down a different way for you all. I'm going to pull up some different percentages that I want you all to think about. So for instance, I'm going to start with ectomorph, more of that lean body type. You want to be on a side of 55% carbs, 25% protein, and 20% fat. Okay. The reasons why: your carbs, their engine speed is set to high reviving. So we need more carbohydrates into our diet. That doesn't mean that we eat French fries all day. That means that we're really compounding the type of vegetables and fruits. And then you're going to see that rice. You're going to see that sweet potato into our diet as well. Then we need 25% of our diet to be protein, because we tolerate carbs well. So we're pulling a lot of it from the carbs, and we need that moderate protein as well to kind of help us out. And then on top of that, 20% of our diet needs to be fat. because it's super high in energy. We're very high in energy, so we need that fat as well to kind of compound with the blend of the other types of macronutrients that we're pulling into our body. That looks like, if you're using your hands, you got 2 palms of protein dense food. So where I'm gonna say we're endomorph or mesomorph, where a mesomorph might have, a palm full of, or 2 palm full of, I'm gonna say like tilapia, fish, something that have enough to fit in the palm of their hand, enough to fit in the palm of their hand. Boom. You're talking about an ectomorph. We need steak, or something that's very high in protein for our diet. We need something that's going to be super high. So how we were talking about that shake, that 30 grams of protein, hello, we're going to need that in our diet. We need it. We're going to need something like that in our diet whenever we're breaking down our fruits, our vegetables, all of that good stuff. Let me see. So let me go into women, because I think I was thinking more about men. Oh, crap. I lost my space. 1 second. Okay. So speaking about women, the 2 handfuls of the protein that would be really good for women, especially if you're trying to gain weight and you are an ectomorph. You got 1 fistful of vegetables. You got 2 cupped handfuls of carb dense foods. Those are go back to that refined carb list that I sent y'all. And on the bottom, you got your complex carbs. 2 handfuls of complex carbs, absolutely. And then a thumb of that fat. If you look at your thumb size, that's all the fat that you need in your diet if you are an ectomorph. Now let's move down into our mesomorphs. If you have more of a mesomorph body type, or you have those traits in your body, you are in fact on the 40-30-30 40-30-30, or that zone type of eating. That's 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. This is why your bodies are designed to be powerful machines. So that's why it's 40% of the carbohydrates. A lot of us are doing a lot of cardio. So boom, that works. Then 30% protein, they tend to be testosterone and growth hormone dominant. Facts only. We will put that muscle on, right? Right. 30% fat. Thus, they can usually gain muscle and stay lean easily if you have that moderate type of fat into your diet. And this is what it looks like. So for my mesomorphs, that same palm that we're talking about, you need that heavy duty protein. You absolutely need that heavy duty protein. That's why every week I'm saying protein, y'all, protein, because we gotta have it in it. So you have to have a heavy presence of protein in your diet. Every meal, handful, right there, protein. And then you need a fistful of those vegetables. You absolutely must have that fistful of vegetables. Granted, you can even do the 2 fistfuls of vegetables into your diet and be just fine, because what that's going to do is work in your favor. It's going to keep you energized throughout the day. And on top of that, it's going to help with that fat loss that we're all looking to burn, all of us. So then you get into those carbohydrates. Go back to that complex carb list. 1 cup or 1 handful of those carb dense foods, those complex carbs. Even getting into, you can do a handful of the complex carbs and then cut you off 1/4 of that potato or half of that sweet potato and be just fine. Okay. And then again, same thing for you all. You need that 1 thumb of the fat. You need the 1 thumb of the fat. So granted, whenever you're doing those 1 thumb of fat dense foods, you're looking at your nuts, you're looking at your avocados, you're looking at your, what is it called? Your olive oils and all the different type of oils like that. You're definitely looking at those. Those are going to be your fat dense foods. So not your saturated fats. You want to go with those that are not the saturated type of fats, more of your natural side of fats. That's what we're leaning towards. And then you get into your endomorphs. This is what your diet needs to look like. I'm going to change up all of my endomorphs. If you have more of an endomorph presence into your body, you have more of those traits, we're going to take your carbohydrates down even more. So I believe I have your carbs at 40. I want to take your carbs down to 35 and I want to bump your protein up to 35. Hold on, 35. And yes, I want to even out your carbs and your protein at 35 and I want to take your fats down to 30. Okay. So again, if you are an endomorph and you're looking at your MyFitnessPal, I want to take your carbohydrates, I want to take your carbohydrates down to 35. I want to take your protein up to 35 and I want to keep your fat at 30. Okay. So protein is going up, carbs are going down, fat remains the same. That is where my endomorphs need to be. Reason being, your engine speed is set to idle, so you don't burn as quick as others do. That's okay, because we're going to work on that with our eating, period. Then we get into our protein. The reason why that we're going to take that protein up is because, again, we're not getting enough as what we need. The type of workouts that we're doing based off our body type anyway, it's going to work with us. So we're tricking our body by taking it up a little bit more. You're going to be fine. Then we get into our fat. Typically, you have a slower metabolic rate and generally don't tolerate carbs as well. So that's why, and it sounds crazy. It's like, well, Reagan, if I'm having an issue with shedding fat, why in the world would I take my fat intake up? Well, again, if you're doing the right type of fats into your body as this body type, your body is going to say, oh, voila, this is perfect. This is perfect for me. It's going to gravitate towards this change, and it's actually going to speed things up for you in regards to your metabolism, because naturally your metabolism is slower. So again, we're leaning into the science. It totally works. You just have to trust it. So what that looks like for you, again, that palm full of protein, you need something good. You may not necessarily want to do steaks. Steaks don't do well for those whose metabolism are very slow. So you want to go with proteins like your fish or something like your chicken, but something that usually isn't as high in fat and usually not as aggressive like that red meat tends to be if you're a red meat eater. Same thing with vegetables. Vegetables are going to be pretty much a free fall for you. And then whenever it comes to your carb dense food, again, lean into those berries. Berries are going to be your very best friends for complex carbs. And then for your fat, instead of that one thumb that we've suggested for ecto and meso, you actually get two. So where if you're an ecto or a mesomorph, I would probably say, hey, take about a fourth of that, avocado that you're looking for. I'm going to tell you to do half. Period. And I know it sounds crazy, and I know that we'll have to work through some mental barriers, but I want you all to at least be informed and at least have the knowledge, and then we can work on the habits afterwards. That's my spiel. Questions for me. I'm gonna go back through these. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. No, well, yeah, Shamika, are you still there? I see that you said you didn't miss the body type. I don't know when you sent that, but I just kind of got through that. Does everything make sense to everybody, or is anybody mind blown? Are we good, or are we mind blown at this moment? And it's okay. It's okay either way. Okay, Tess said progressing. Okay. Cool. Well, take those things into consideration. What I want everybody to do is one, I need your measurements. I absolutely need your measurements. If you have not sent them to me, I don't want to see nothing else. I want to see those measurements. Take your measurements, okay? That's going to be very important. So when we get to the end of the month, we can have something to look back on, all right? Oh, Taz, I got what you mean, processing. Oh, processing, I got you. Okay, processing it. Where does yellow squash and zucchini fall on the carb list? Complex carbs, that was to Chandra. Those are complex carbs. They might not be listed. Again, just because it's not on that list, you all, does not mean that it's non-existent, okay? That's a very limited list. but it should give some direction. But that's a complex carb. Those are good carbs. You know how people make noodles with like zucchini and squash or whatnot. They're more of a complex carb. And they work wonders for the body. They do. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay. I got you, Tangi. Do we have a call set up this week? She says she needs to have a chat about the endomeso again. Okay, so you have kind of like that blended diet. And honestly, you're on track. You don't even have to really overthink it. You're on track as to what it is that you will need to eat for the endomeso. So again, for my endomesos, both of y'all, just because of how your metabolism is set up, it's usually just a little bit slower than what an ectomorph would be. You have to watch out for those refined carbs. That's why I sent that list to you all. So I would start there. Really watch out for those refined carbs. That's important. If you think about the end of your day, you kind of want to forgo any type of like what is it called, potato, even like if it's a potato or rice or something at the end of your day, you want to kind of maneuver those out or move those out of your diet towards the end of the day, just because of how your body is set up and how your metabolism is set up. So if you have more of a mesomorph vibe, you can take your fat intake up. You can take it up. If you have more of that endomorph vibe, you want to keep your fat intake very moderate. If you are more of a mesomorph, you want to take your carbohydrates down. You want to take your protein up, and you want to keep your fats moderate. So your carbohydrates and your proteins are at 35%. And then you have your, fat intake at 30%. So those are pretty much the takeaways for you. And when we have our individual calls, we can kind of revisit this stuff and go back into it just a little bit more in depth to make sure that you're on the right track based off whether you're endomeso, strictly meso, strictly endo, ectomeso, what have you. We can kind of go on the more customized side there. But those are some key takeaways for y'all to take with you and be mindful of. Okay. So don't forget to reach out to me for your nutrition check-in. And any other questions? Any other questions? All right. Well, I'm going to wrap us up right here. Thank y'all so much for joining Reset Sunday.